The St. Petersburg Mining University is Russia's oldest technical university, and one of the oldest technical colleges in Europe. It was founded on October 21, 1773, by Empress Catherine the Great, who realized an idea proposed by Peter the Great and Mikhail Lomonosov for training engineers for the mining and metals industries. Having a strong engineering profession was seen by many Russian rulers as a vital means of maintaining Russia's status as a great power. As historian Alfred J. wrote, the marriage of technology and central state power had a natural attraction for Peter the Great and his successors, particularly Paul I, Alexander I and Nicholas I. All three had had a military education and seen the achievements of the engineers of revolutionary and imperial France, who had reconstructed the great highways, unified the waterways and erected buildings throughout Europe in a more lasting tribute to the French than all of Napoleon's victories. Though located in St. Petersburg, the university is on a federal rather than local level, and has partnerships with global oil, gas and mining companies and governments. Its museum is home to one of the world's finest collections of gem and mineral samples, and the university building is a neoclassical masterpiece by Andrei Voronin. History. The university was first known as the Mining School until 1804, when it became the Mining Cadet Corps in 1833. It became the Institute of the Corps of Mining Engineers. Since 1866, it was known as the Mining Institute. It is still widely known in Russia as Gorny, or mining, referring to its previous name. During the Soviet period, it was renamed after Georgy Plekhanov, who attended the institute in the 1870s, and became known as the G.V. Plekhanov Leningrad State Mining Institute and Technical University. In 1958 to 1960, a branch of the institute was opened in Vorkuta and night schools at Slansky, Monchegorsk, and Kirovsk. Since 1869, the institute has also been the headquarters of the Russian Mineralogical Society. During the siege of Leningrad, the building was used as a manufacturing base for producing explosives and grenades. The university also houses a church, St. Macarius of Egypt, which first opened its doors in 1805. It was closed together with other churches by the Soviet government in 1918, and used as a cinema and then a gym, resulting in damage to the interior, but in 1996 was recognized once more as a church and restored fully. It is now a working church. The university was renamed the St. Petersburg State Mining University in 2011, and, after merging with the Northwest Open Technical University in 2012, it was known as the National Mineral Resources University. The university was renamed the St. Petersburg Mining University in 2016. Building. The university is housed in her neoclassicist building with a 12-column portico on the banks of the Neva River, on the south shore of Vasilyevsky Island. It is the first building that can be seen from ships traveling into the city from the Finnish Gulf, and is a prime example of the monumental neoclassicist style favored in Imperial Russia in the early 1800s. Architect Andrei Voronin completed the building in 1806–11. He also designed the Kazan Cathedral, inspired by St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, on Nevsky Prospect, as well as buildings on Paul I's estate at Pavlovsk Palace south of the city. He also remodeled the interiors of the Baroque Stroganov Palace in neoclassical style. The design of the university building reflects the idea that mining is a harsh and difficult pursuit, as well as symbolizing the entry into the underground world of Pluto through the portico, decorated with 12 columns of the Doric order. On the left-hand side of the steps at the entrance to the university is a sculpture by Vasily Malinovsky, who designed decorations and sculptures for many of the city's churches, palaces and monuments. monuments. The abduction of Proserpina depicts how the Roman goddess Proserpina is seized and taken to the underworld by Pluto, and is after the original The Rape of Proserpina by Italian artist Gian Lorenzo Bernini, which provided the inspiration for many artists. Its powerful forms and heavy proportions are determined by its position and function as a decoration of the huge portico, and the sculpture together with the portico are typical of Russian town planning in the beginning of the 19th century. The right-hand side of the entrance to the university is the Hercules and Antaeus sculpture by Stepan Pimenov, one of the leading Russian sculptors of the early 19th century, who also created sculptural decorations for the Kazan Cathedral, the Admiralty, and many other palaces and monuments in St. Petersburg, and who had worked closely with Demet Malinovsky since 1802. Hercules and Antaeus shows how Hercules won in a struggle with Antaeus, who had defeated most of his previous opponents up to that point. In 1830, Pimenov fell out of favor with Tsar Nicholas I, seemingly over his sculptures to decorate the Narva Triumphal Arch, built in 1814 to mark the Russian victory over Napoleon, but most probably because of his portraits of the Tsar, which Nicholas did not take a liking to. Pimenov was dismissed by the Tsar and died 3 years later, at the age of 49. The two sculptures symbolize the earth, its power and wealth. Antaeus' strength lay in his contact with Mother Earth, and Demet Malinovsky's Rape of Proserpina also shows a struggle, and the dynamism of each sculpture contrasts with the solidity of the large portico. Traditions. Unusually for a non-military establishment, the university has a uniform worn by all staff and students. When it was first opened in the 1700s, students wore a double-breasted red uniform with a white collar and gold trimmings. The uniform was dropped for a number of years before being reintroduced in 2000 with the aim of reviving the traditions of Russia's first technical college. The Russian Railways is another non-military organization where staff still wear a uniform. In 2013, Russia began issuing new sets of stamps showing uniforms such as those of communications and post office workers. For the 1600s to the present, Russian mining engineers in general wore uniforms, seemingly as part of efforts to bring the profession closer to the military. Science. One of the key achievements of the university's scientists has been the invention of techniques to drill through several miles of Antarctic ice to reach the subglacial Lake Vostok. Professor Nikolai Vassiliev, head of the drilling department at the university, has led the drilling efforts, while scientific research into the layers of ice that cover the lake, the possibility of new forms of microbial life existing in the lake, and a host of other areas of research connected to the lake are based at the Arctic and Antarctic Research Institute, the Petersburg Nuclear Physics Institute, the All-Russian Research Institute of Geology and Mineral Resources of the World Ocean, the Institute of Geography in Moscow, the Limnological Institute in Irkutsk, and the Laboratory for Glaciology and Environmental Geophysics in Grenoble, France. Lake Vostok is one of the world's most closely watched scientific projects, and the expertise of the Russian drillers, directed by Professor Vassiliev, is recognized. Controversies. Vladimir Litvinenko, who has been rector since 1994 and has close links to Vladimir Putin, who defended his doctoral thesis at the institute in 1996. Litvinenko oversaw Putin's work, which is alleged to include significant amounts of plagiarism and is speculated perhaps to have not even been written by Putin. Litvinenko has been criticized for not spotting the plagiarism.